Once again, good morning Pakistan, good morning Afghanistan. My name is Peter Crone. I recently arrived as UNICEF representative in Afghanistan, coming from southern Sudan, where I spent a couple of years. And for me, it's a very happy return to a region in which I spent 11 years previously, many years ago. I'd like to welcome, we have in this room UNICEF colleagues both from Kabul and also from our zone offices. We also have a very strong representation from our cluster co-chair, Dakar, once again both from Kabul and also from their outlying offices. So welcome to everybody here and good morning again to everybody there. I am going to take very little time. I understand that Martin has already performed an opening ceremony there in Pakistan, and knowing Martin, I'm sure his opening was both eloquent and comprehensive. So I'm going to say very little further, other than to say that this is a very important event. I'm confident that it will have a major impact on improving the effectiveness of WASH cluster coordination both in Afghanistan and Pakistan. But I think what I'm most excited about is the fact that we are doing this jointly, a cross-border conversation between Afghanistan and Pakistan, and also that we're doing it using the wonders of video conferencing. It's an exciting experiment. I very much hope it will work, and if it does work, I hope that this will be just the first of potentially a series of regular discussions between us, because I think we've got a lot of experience to share and a lot to learn from each other. So I'm not going to say any further. Thank you again, everybody here, for having come to the meeting. Greetings again to everybody there in Pakistan, and I wish you the best of luck for a successful meeting. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Another area that's coming out now very strongly is accountability to the affected population. This is another, this is the real purpose of why we're doing all of this. And if we're not being better accountable to the people who are actually affected, there's something wrong with this wheel. So we need to keep in mind all of these things, and they all have to come together. One alone is not going to solve the problem. So who's responsible for what? Just once again to emphasize, government has primary role. That's basically accepted by humanitarian law. It is actually humanitarian law, international law. We have some tools on that. OCHA is supposed to support the response through coordination across the sectors. As I often think of myself as a herder of cats. Mark Cutts tries to herd the herders of cats. So his life is a level more complicated than mine. Information management. OCHA is supposed to be providing the overall intercluster platforms that we use, advocacy and resource mobilization, cluster lead agencies, and we're trying very hard to be careful about our language. The lead agency is UNICEF, the coordinator is Jamal. So when we talk about cluster coordinator, Jamal, we talk about cluster lead agency, that's UNICEF. You have institutional responsibilities, and then you have individual responsibilities. So it's supposed to support the sector by the identification and the delegation of a cluster coordinator. We, at a global level, our experience over and over and over is that dedicated capacity is a must. Where you try to do two things, you wind up doing both things poorly. So dedicated capacity for coordination, partnerships within the cluster, collaborative partnerships, support through the global WASH cluster. Say, my job is to support you. I'm not sure that I'm very good at that. Many of you probably had never heard my name before today. It would be evidence that I'm not very good at it. The cluster coordinator, the coordination of the actual response at the country level or at the sub-country level. I think we're all this. Yeah. Engagement with the HC and other clusters. Yeah, we'll touch on the other clusters quite a bit. That's where that works. It's really powerful, but it doesn't work often. The reviews, we've just, as Martin said, we've just done the second review. What's come out that's positive? Increased inclusiveness. It's a much more inclusive process. I think people feel more a part of a larger whole. In many places, we've had NGOs as co-leads, and that's proved to be a very positive experience. Afghanistan is a very clear example of that. UNICEF and Dakar working together bring the comparative advantages of both, and it really makes things work well. There are, of course, challenges. Understanding the principles of partnership, collaborative partnership. This is a challenge, especially for UNICEF. Accountability remains a real challenge. Transparency in resource mobilization is a challenge. People are happy to tell you what you're doing, but as soon as you ask about the money, they say, what money? Money? Roles and responsibilities, how it's allocated, say the transparency of how what are the processes that lead you to these decisions. Accessibility of information, again, especially, this is a big IT divide. This is where the language divide often comes in. Lead agency is often too close to the organizational, operational. So we get into sphere. In many UNICEF people's minds, the response is about the CCCs. No, the response is about sphere, not the CCCs. The CCCs are a subset of sphere. And so when we're in the coordination mode, we have to be thinking much more broadly. Even things that UNICEF doesn't do, we still coordinate them. The regional and provincial level, I think Pakistan's actually come a long way on this.